Good morning.
Morning.
And welcome back to, well, just above Dock Garrett Lock on the Caledonian Canal in Scotland.
Yeah.
To our port side, the River Ness is flowing away from the lock. We'll go down through Inverness, out into the Firth and out into the North Sea. We're not going that way. We're heading southwest. Let's play a little game of Family Fortunes. You remember this?
Oh, I remember Family Fortunes.
Do you want to be Les Dennis or Val Doonican?
Val Doonican didn't do it.
He did?
Did he?
He was the first one to do it, wasn't he?
Really?
I'm sure he was. Look that one up. So I want you to name any Scottish loch.
I know. Loch Ness.
Loch Ness. I bet you chose Loch Ness. There'll be one that'll put in the comments, no, I chose Loch Lochy.
Yeah, they will.
Or Loch Lomond or something. Most people would have said Loch Ness. And that's where we're going today. We're off in search of the famous or infamous
Nessie.
Loch Ness Monster. We've got cameras everywhere on the boat, literally everywhere. We had to ring up the doctor and ask for Sean's doctor's colonoscopy camera, which we've got attached to the stern of the boat. So we've got cameras absolutely everywhere. I've got my lucky monster finding pants on.
Yes.
And we've got speakers in the water, and we're going to play monster music. So we're going to play Monster Mash.
Yay.
And we're also going to play, what's the other one? Scary Monster?
Scary Monsters and Super Creeps.
And I'm going to play
David Bowie.
And I'm going to play Little Mix, because the monster might not like it and come up to nick the speaker. So
He'll definitely come up and nick the speaker if you put Little Mix on.
Loch Ness has got the most water in it than any other lake or loch in Britain. The landscape is fantastic. Hopefully the weather's going to stay nice. We've got us life jackets on because it's a few 100 feet deep.
Yes.
Let's go and find that monster. When Scottish engineer Thomas Telford built the Ness Weir, he raised the level of Loch Dockford and Loch Ness by over 1 metre so that ships could safely navigate through. That 1 extra metre holds back a mind-blowing 100 million cubic metres of water. When it was completed, the weir had a lifespan of 100 years, but that was nearly 200 years ago, so it's been overdue the recent refurbishment to re-strengthen it. Just at the end of Loch Dockford is Bona Lighthouse, once the smallest manned lighthouse in Britain. It shone its light out across Loch Ness for over 100 years, warning boaters they were reaching Loch End and the mouth of Loch Dockford. I cannot get across in words how big Loch Ness is. I'm going to try.
Mahoosive.
It's 23 miles long. At its widest point, it's 1.5 miles wide. 788-ish feet deep. Right, so Elizabeth Tower, where Big Ben is in London,
Yes.
yeah, you could fit 2 of those and another half on top of each other, and it'd still be under the water.
Wow.
It holds 1.8 cubic miles of fresh water. That's 263 billion litres of water.
Wow.
The best one is you could fit every person on Earth into this loch 10 times over. Plenty of showers about this morning.
Yes.
And according to the weather forecast, it was going to be blue skies.
You got that wrong.
It's weird because it's such a big, massive area that you can see the showers dotted about in the mountains and in the loch. Even though this is an inshore lake, the Coast Guard class it as open water and treat it as such, and the conditions can change like that, literally, as you just saw. And it's the same with the waves on the loch. Luckily, we've got a northerly wind today, northeasterly wind, which is pushing us down. It means we're going with the waves. And the waves sometimes at the end of the loch can be up to 3 meters high. Wow! We would not be battling that, not even for you. It's not unusual to get waves up to a meter and a half. It is just so exposed out here. So, hence life jackets on. And keep your fingers crossed it don't rain again.
Yes.
Because it is so deep, and there's different reckonings on how deep it is. Some people say 700, some people say they've measured over 800. From what I've seen, the average is about 780 feet deep, but that's still proper deep, isn't it? That's like a really deep bath, isn't it?
Oh, that'd take some filling.
And because of its depth, it doesn't get cold enough to freeze. And Loch Ness doesn't freeze over, so I'm told. Somebody will say it has. So send me a photo. But apparently it doesn't freeze because the sun warms the water during the spring and summer and autumn. Sometimes it can actually be a little bit warmer during the winter than it is in the summer. That's weird, isn't it? And there's different levels of temperature in the loch. And a little bit further down, it never really changes from about 5 or 6 degrees Celsius, which is enough to give you hypothermia if you fell in, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
cold shock. You don't find you'd need a warm bath after that, wouldn't you?
And a good rub down.
Ooh. Well, it's not exactly ideal Nessie hunting weather today, is it? The showers are coming in thick and fast. So Sean's retreated into the warm, dry cabin to drive the boat from there, while I keep an eye out for the monster from out here. Even though most people come to Loch Ness in hope of catching a glimpse of Nessie, it's not the only legend to originate here. These dark, mysterious waters hold a lot more secrets and stories than you might think.
Raining. We've come inside because it's raining.
We need one of these on a narrowboat, don't we?
Definitely.
I think the weather's beaten us today. There's no sign of the Loch Ness monster. It's probably gone to warmer waters for the winter. I know I would be. We're not even halfway across Loch Ness yet, but we're going to try and find some shelter until the rain eases off. Pesky showers.
It stopped raining.
They do look kind of stunning when you see them moving across the loch and over the mountains. But we've come to get a little bit of shelter. and we're in Urquhart Harbour, which is lovely. It's right next to the Loch Ness lifeboat station, and I'm going to find somebody because I didn't see anything of the Loch Ness Monster. I don't know if you did.
Nope.
And we had Sean's colonoscopy camera and everything, didn't
Everything.
we? So I'm going to go and find a man who can. Sightings of a monster in Loch Ness date right back to ancient times, but it wasn't until the 1930s when the modern tales of Nessie really started to take off. The famous surgeon's photo, published in 1934, is probably the most recognisable example, even though it's since been admitted as a hoax. Nevertheless, after that photo, hundreds more appeared over the years, combined with eyewitness accounts describing the monster as anything from a giant eel to some prehistoric plesiosaur. Now, some skeptics might say the stories of a monster have been made up to boost visitor numbers, but there's plenty of accounts from respected people that might just suggest the existence of some kind of large, unusual creature in those dark depths of Loch Ness. About a mile up the road from Urquhart Harbour is Drumna Droghit, home to the famous hotel and also the Loch Ness Centre and Exhibition, which is where I'm meeting naturalist and leader of the Loch Ness Project, Adrian Shine. He's spent almost 50 years in Scotland carrying out expeditions and projects scouring the loch for this elusive creature, including Operation Deep Scan in 1987, where a flotilla of 24 boats swept Loch Ness using sonar in an effort to find evidence of the monster. I don't think anybody's devoted so much of their life to finding Nessie as Adrian has, and I can't wait to meet him, but that's not the first thing I want to talk to him about. Can I just say, before we start, you are totally rocking the beard.
Well, it's been pruned a little of late.
And the colour's changed, I've noticed.
And the colour is changing slowly as the autumn comes on.
So what first inspired you to come to Scotland, to Loch Ness?
It was really in the 1960s when I was a lazy schoolboy, and I was fascinated by the work that was being done at Loch Ness and the authors like Tim Dinsdale and Ted Holliday, whose books were in the library, and I was able to read about this possibility. There was this exciting wildlife challenge up in our own country, and I preferred adventure to academia, you could say, and it looked like a bit of a soft option, to be quite honest. It couldn't be that difficult, could it? Something the size of a bus swimming about in a little lake. Well, of course, it didn't work out as quite a soft option as I might have thought.
What I've always admired about you is your naturalist scientific approach to the work you've done in whether there is or isn't a monster.
I was always a naturalist, you know, in a crude sense, and I've stayed that way. So I look at it through a naturalist's eyes. But many of the Loch Ness monster hunters of the classic mould are not actually naturalists. Loch Ness is big and it's deep and it's dark and it's hostile. So how do you take photographs in it? You know, you have to think in engineering terms. So you have to, for me, it's a blend between sort of bucket biology and crude engineering, building little submersible hides and glass-bottom boats. It's also great fun. We love building things, don't we?
I remember a lesson we did at school, and we saw Mashan, the really small submersible. And I remember at the time my hands were sweating just kind of watching you getting in this thing. I mean, one, how did you get in it? And two, it must have been really claustrophobic.
Well, we fold up, you know. It's a bit embryonic, but we fold up. I don't fold up as well as I used to. But then I did, you know, I was in my 20s. And I designed it initially by sitting under the dining room table to see just how small one was and how you could sustain that position for how long. And we thought about 2 hours was about the limit, to be quite honest, however young and flexible we were. But claustrophobia, well, the point about it was we had windows, we had the portholes. And the whole idea of Mashan was that it was an underwater hide. It didn't have an engine, it didn't go anywhere, it just went up and down. and you sat on the bottom. It was baited to attract fish, and you could watch the world go by, the underwater world.
I'm sure everybody's seen that photograph from 1934, the original surgeon's photograph. And with the technology today, the computers and Photoshop and phones, everybody can create things like this. When you see new photos and these hoaxes and fakes, do you get a spark of excitement, or do you want to prove them wrong, or do you just not really care about them anymore?
Well, I've long had the view that eyewitnesses are broadly honest and that photographers are not. So that, I'm afraid, is the starting point. And universally so far, that has proved to be pretty accurate. And I also say there are two sorts of Loch Ness Monster photograph. There are the bad ones, which could be honest mistakes, and there are the good ones, which are definitely fakes. You know, this year alone we've had catfish, we've had a superimposed 1975 Bob Ryan's underwater picture superimposed on a drone shot. They're very obvious in general, and you know, I don't resent that. It's all grist to the mill. It's a game. Now, I do subscribe to pursuing parsimony, the most likely explanations for what we see. But parsimony does not necessarily give you the right answer. Just because it's more likely doesn't mean that it is correct. And given that I was at one point given the resources of the old Loch Ness investigation, and there were these, well, now a few thousand eyewitness reports, I felt it only fair to them to pursue the thing until we had the right to be right.
You've never said it doesn't exist.
Ah.
And I love that.
Yes, you cannot see water babies not existing. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. It pretty much is, and we have pretty much got the explanations. But you see, things have moved on. That's the key thing about this. We're not looking for Jurassic monsters. Haven't been since the 1970s, as long ago as that. But nature has a way of surprising you. And so we came up with a number of lateral possibilities. There was my migratory sturgeon. That's a favourite of mine. In other words, a very large, primitive-looking fish that could come in and go away again, because they only spawn in fresh water. So there wouldn't be one in Loch Ness most of the time, which is pretty good if you're looking for an elusive candidate, because it won't be there. Another chap, Dick Rayner, came up with the idea of the European catfish. These are only theoretical things, remember. They do not in any way explain the classic monster sightings, like the sea serpent sighting, which we know is boat wakes, like the plesiosaur sightings, which are probably water birds on very calm surfaces where you get optical illusion. No, we're looking at the possibilities of things being in Loch Ness. What could be there? That's the fun of it, you see. That's the fun that has not gone.
But you do have that claim to fame of actually finding Nessie.
With a lot of help from Craig from the Kongsberg Company and the Munin Autonomous Underwater Vehicle. We knew that in we did find the Loch Ness Monster. We were off to find a mythical deep spot in the loch, which didn't actually exist. But on the way, we happened to see a 30-foot monster lying on the bed of the loch with about a 6-foot head and neck. It was the Loch Ness Monster. It was the Loch Ness Monster from the Private Life of Sherlock Holmes film made in 1969. Basically a very fine monster, 30 feet long with a nice 6-foot head and neck, had been built. It had a couple of nice humps on it, but the director didn't like the humps. And so he told the effects man to have the humps off. Sadly, that was associated with the buoyancy, and he said, well, sorry, Gov, but if we take the humps off, it'll sink. And they took the humps off, they towed it out, and it sank.
We're at the Loch Ness Centre and Exhibition, which used to be the Drumnadrochit Hotel, the original one, and that has a link to the Loch Ness Monster, doesn't it?
Yes, it has. Mrs. Mackay was manageress here with her husband near Alduri Castle. She saw something that she related to something much bigger than a salmon, something at least 9 feet long, I think she said. It was, and the point about it was not that she'd seen it, but that she said, or is alleged to have said, "Stop," to her husband who was driving. "Stop the beast, not stop you beast, stop the beast," which suggests that there was some sort of tradition here of there being something pre-1933. But in 1933, Alex Campbell, the bailiff, picked up that story and outed her. She wanted to keep it quiet. I mean, you wouldn't nowadays, you know, a hotelier who's seen the Loch Ness Monster would say, "Hey, there's a Loch Ness Monster here, come to stay in my hotel." But it wasn't like that in 1933. To be self-advertising was regarded as a little bit under the arm, if you like. So she wanted to keep it quiet, but Alex Campbell didn't, because he was a journalist, and the rest is history.
And what a history it is. I kind of like the romanticised fantasy of some mysterious creature living somewhere in this huge loch. But maybe that's all it is, a fantasy. A legend that's been hijacked for commercial gain. Whatever the truth, Loch Ness and its monster brings 250,000 tourists and over £40 million a year to the local economy. Just imagine how many people wouldn't have a business or even an income if Nessie didn't really exist. I'd like to think that it does, but then again, I've always been a sucker for a good story.
Hello.
You back then?
I'm back. Wow. He's ace.
Is it?
He's like, I've always known of him because I remember at school our teacher Mrs. Pickles, and we did a lesson about Loch Ness. And so I've always known about Adrian. It's like really eloquent. We ought to have speaking lessons so that we can speak like what he does.
I speak fine.
He's like, I think the reason I like him is he's like Doc Brown from Back to the Future, but not as crazy, although his beard is rocking. But it's like his scientific approach and like his research and everything. I like that. I admire it. It's inspiring.
Yeah.
So there you go, the story of why there is or isn't a Loch Ness Monster down here. If I just did that...
No, I'm stood right next to the edge.
Then you could find out if it exists or not.
Oh, that water's cold.
What an amazing day. Loch Ness is just the most awesome place.
Yeah.
And it's huge, it literally is huge. So huge that we're going to have to do the next bit in another episode. So we're going to have to leave you here. We're going to settle down for this evening here at Urquhart Harbour.
Urquhart Harbour.
It's got like a Yorkshire twang to it if you wanted, hasn't it? I don't think the Scots would be too pleased about
No,
that.
I don't think they would.
We're going to settle down here for the night, have a little bit of supper. Shall we have kippers?
You don't like kippers.
I know, but we're in Scotland, aren't we?
That'd be Aggies. No stop.
Join us next time when we're going to just nip around the corner and visit Urquhart Castle. We're going to go see some waterfalls. We're going to see some of Thomas Telford's early work and hopefully see some flying fish.
Oh,
How cool would that be?
Well, they don't fly. They jump.
Shh, they don't know that yet. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have and you're not, subscribe to the channel and see more of this every
Madness.
Friday at 4 o'clock. Hit the big thumbs up if you enjoyed the vlog and the thumbs down if you didn't. Although we have a gang of people that come and knock on your door now if you do.
There is, yeah. So if you hit the thumbs down and there's a knock on the door, you know why.
And hit the notification bell, which is probably already gone now.
Yeah.
If you want YouTube to let you know every time we release a new video, which is
4 o'clock on a Friday.
I want kippers now. See you later. Bye.
Ta-ra.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We've just set off from the top of... So I've just smacked Dylan in the face. Otis. Phone's ringing. It's still classed as a... I knew I were going to forget that in the 5 seconds leading up to it. It's classed. I've forgotten it again. Open water. Ugh. I'm talking to you, but I'm not talking to you.